Hello, everyone, and welcome to SCORE Fairfield County's live webinar on Canva, more tips and tricks to help your marketing. I'm Bob Hogan, the webinar coordinator and a business mentor here at SCORE Fairfield County. I'm going to be your host today, and our presenter is Bud Freund. More on Bud in just a minute, but first some brief information on SCORE. SCORE is a nonprofit national partner of the SBA, and we offer three primary value-added services to small business owners. First of all, we offer one-on-one business mentoring, and you can access that in person or by video, telephone, email, whatever works best for you. And you can do that by using the yellow bit.ly link that you see on the screen, or you can go to our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org, and click on the Request a Mentor button. Secondly, we offer a wide range of educational programs like the one today, both in person and via webinar, and we do about 100 of those or so throughout the year. And lastly, we offer extensive resources on our website, including access to business tools and information. Our next live webinar will be 2 weeks from today on March 19th at noon, and the topic is SEO 101, Learn to Rank Higher. And Jennifer DeRosa will be presenting that webinar. You can find more specifics on our webinar, or on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. We also have a large number of recorded webinars on our website that cover a wide range of business topics. You can view those at any time just by going to our website and clicking on on-demand webinars. Just some logistics about today's webinar. We have set aside time for questions and answers at the end of the presentation. If you have a question, please use the Q&A button at any time during the presentation. It's generally located at the bottom of your screen, and we'll take as many as we can up until the top of the hour. We will end our webinar sharply at 1 o'clock to respect your time. The webinar is being recorded, and a link to the recording will be available on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org, under on-demand webinars within the next day or so. It's now my pleasure to introduce our speaker today, Bud Freund. Bud has been self-employed for over 40 years and has been providing IT solutions to homes and small businesses for the past 20 years. During that time, he has taught Photoshop to the Foxwoods Graphics Department, technology life skills at the King's School, and managed the Bicultural Hebrew Academy Network. As a certified SCORE mentor, Bud regularly presents technology webinars and in-person workshops at libraries throughout Fairfield County. I'm now going to turn it over to Bud. Bud, it's all yours.
Thank you very much, Bob, and thank you all for joining us. This is a revisit under the hood of Canva. The previous one is that link down at the bottom there, and we're going to talk a little bit about embedding links into a Canva presentation. But before we dive too deeply, I just want to give an overview of Canva, which my father would have called this thing a Gesatztehagen. You're not quite sure of what it is or what it does, but it seems to do a lot of things. And Canva, I find to be that Swiss Army knife of digital communications because it will allow you to do a number of different things like resize whatever your presentation is to fit into a number of different places. And we're not going to dive into those because each one of them takes a little bit of time to churn through, but know that it's here and available. And the other thing that's important to note is that little crown right over there, which is an indicator of a paid version of Canva. They do offer two flavors. They offer the free version, which allows you to do a whole lot of stuff. And then in the paid version, which I believe is $100 a year, they add in a number of terrific features, one of them being this resizing capability for whatever you might create. Another one being the ability to brand your stuff so that you're using the same images and logos and fonts wherever it is that you want to apply them. The other thing that is significant to note about Canva is that it does have a presentation mode. And within that presentation mode, it will allow you to run full screen. It will allow you to have notes on the side. It will allow you to record. And I will tell you from an experience earlier this morning, you may want to record and create that MP4 file before showing it to anybody because I had a very successful blow up this morning, and just proceeding with caution. More importantly, with that caution in mind, the next item I want to remind you of is that when you're working in Canva, despite the fact that it will tell you that it's backing up and saving whatever your changes are, as you go through the creation of this document that you're making, I have gotten in the habit of putting a slide at the front and putting slides at the very far back. And I'm going to show you the back from the grid view down here. We're going to be under the hood quite a bit. And the grid view has slides at the very back. And part of the reason is that, as you notice, this thing sort of wobbles around as it's moving. And every now and then that target just doesn't hit exactly the way you want. So I double click, there we are. We're back in our build view, and it's just a little easier to move your slides around. And as I said, I keep an empty slide front and back so you can kind of drag it into wherever you want. Also, these three dots over here will allow you to duplicate a page so you can always have an empty space to work from. And that while that duplicating is really important, every now and then you may find that you want to duplicate that page before you start moving it around, because it's been my experience on the mobile devices that as things start to move around, it kind of gets a little wonky. So that's just something to bear in mind. Make your duplicate before you start to move things around. However, and this is another feature of the purchased Canva, you do get to go back in history. They do have a file history like Photoshop or other of the high-end graphics programs. But as you can see, version history is another purchased item. So another worthwhile reason to consider investing in Canva. Fonts, beyond your wildest dreams, the majority of them are free. And the next trick I want to talk to you about is the making fonts do things. And the easiest way to do it is in multiple layers. Yes, we're going to go into that right now, but you get your black stroke around one, and then you've got the halo around the other. And that comes in this layers area. Those of you dealing in Photoshop are probably familiar with that. I can move my halo all the way up to the top here. And now the halo, as you can see, is in front of the stroked text. Switch them and they go back. These are fonts in their font names, number of different places. Another place to be able to get free fonts is Font Share. But understand that when people say a font is free, read the usage. It's not because you can just put it anywhere you want, especially for a business. For nonprofit use, a lot of stuff is free. When it comes to for-profit, they do expect to be paid, and justifiably. Next item, as we're talking about fonts, to my graphic design friend Julie, this upper and lowercase thing is really significant to bear in mind. You'll see in just a moment if you're cheating along the bottom, but you can grow that font, and you'll see the number is growing up there in the window in multiple ways. And over here, you can take a font, go up to the corner, change it however you want. Highly versatile. Another thing that Julie showed me, which was absolutely fabulous, this wonderful little circular use of a font. grow it big and small. But what's significant to note, and we'll get to how it's done in just a moment in effects, but understand that when you're building it, and I did a double click to get to here, you're putting all of this information into text and then going into effects, scroll down, and you can tell this curve to be larger or smaller. Now, that triangle, for those of you in the Windows world, this wonderful thing called character map will allow you to pick all sorts of characters that are ASCII fonts, select it, copy it, bring it into Canva, and paste it. Another thing I'd like to remember to remind you of is that Kate Handling on Instagram has some fabulous tricks, tips, and features, which is where I grab a lot of these. Thank you, Kate, even whether she's watching or not. Moving on, let's see, what have we got over here? Embedding in QR. I think I mentioned early on that this URL will take you to the first Canva prezo that we did. And what's significant to note is that among the apps that are available built into Canva is Embed, where you would paste your link in, add it to your design. These are all places where you can either grab or send people to. And then once you're here, important to note, they'll tell you what the URL is, and then by choice, you can either make it a link or you can make it the embed so that you can actually see what's going on. QR, another item that's available. From right inside of Canva. Oh, not that one. Let's try a different one. Oh, let's see, go back to apps. QR code. You'd open it up, paste in the information, the QR code would be created. Where are we? Okay. Oh, this was another item I thought was absolutely fabulous. If you are building questionnaires or forms in Google Forms, you can build your form, build your questionnaire in Google Docs, Google Forms, copy the URL, and then from the URL that you've copied, go back into Embed and paste it into your Canva presentation. Now, another item that landed over the weekend that I wanted to make mention of. This is a very recent lawsuit that's about to come to pass. Let me try and explain this to you. Apple will sell you a phone that can hold 256 gigabytes of stuff, and they will give you 5 gigabytes of space online to back up your 256 gigabyte phone. That math doesn't quite work. More importantly is that if you want to back up the settings and some of the operating files for your phone, you are a captive audience to iCloud. You are going to have to buy space from Apple. And if you want, you can join in on this antitrust suit. And one more item to make note of here is that a bit.ly, that's this little guy over here that takes a real long URL and shortens it down into something that reads properly. If you add the plus sign at the end of a bit.ly, what it does is to take you to an intermediary step that will tell you where you are about to go to before you actually get there. And it's just a safety feature. Um, I like to test mine before I offer them up to the general public, but not everybody is as forthright. So something to bear in mind. This was one where um, I looked at this and I said, okay, somebody's got to be doing something here. Let's see what's going on. And again, you go into your display mode, you change it to embed, and yes, that's right. O'Reilly Auto will sell you a Back to the Future flux capacitor so that you can get your car wherever you would like it to go. Hey, you got to have some fun with these things, you know? Anyway, um, and again, just proceed cautiously with stuff because people are putting their social security number on the internet. Be careful, folks. It's sort of dangerous out there sometimes. Let's get back to business. Gradients. They're kind of confusing. So I've given you the walkthrough here. This is being built so that you can go back to it to reference. As Bob mentioned, this will be recorded. It will be available online. You will be able to hit pause. However, take a look at this graphic. So you can put your type inside. Or if you want to change how it looks, right now we have this as the chosen gradient, and you can change the way that the gradient lands, how it appears. You can add colors to it. I'm a very big believer, as I think I mentioned previously, make a copy and blow that one up before you blow up the one that you really find to be very valuable. Let's add an orange or a green in here. And by the way, these do move and I said they move. They do move. Yes, there we go. They can move so that you can change or alter how you would like something to look. So where are we? We're over here. Um, Another item of great significance is this list of words over here will allow you to go into elements. I love the name organic blob. Just, what do you know? And if you type it in, it gives you all kinds of choices that you can add to your presentation. And again, have I mentioned those little crowns that might be good to own this piece of software? Also, what we've got here is a square, and not all of their squares work the same way. This one happens to allow you to move all four corners independently as opposed to a fixed sized item, which you can then go in and we're going to make the size a little larger. Right now it's black and I don't want it to be black. I'd like it to be red. And now you've got a box that you can take and put around whatever you'd like it to be. It's a little wide on the right there. Let's bring them in just a tiny bit. You get the general idea. And again, add your shape. And from your shape, lots of choices. Add your border. Round your corners. They get pointier or curvier. Change your border color. Change the inside color. And then there is the photo magic, which when you go into edit photo, and I'm not going to do it for you because there's a lot of memory churn, which just takes up presentation time. But once you get into edit photo, you're able to do a bunch of stuff like take out this fellow's face, and I went looking for an image. We'll talk about where those images are coming from in just a minute, but right now, oh, he's in the wrong place. How do we fix that? We go over to position and we take him and we move him above that. And now, lo and behold, we can shrink him down, move him here, and now you've got him being arrested for DWI. And the other thing that's really nice to make note of is that uploads will allow you to grab anything from anywhere. And right now, see if I can get this over to what I was looking for. Yes, I am. So you add up whatever you want from wherever you want it, and then you can add in whatever you want. And just wanted to make note of this battery operated car here that's got 80% of its capacity, but it's not going anywhere. And it's I know I know Michael. He told me it's not on blocks. So just bear in mind, software does not always work exactly the way that you want it to. Another quick example of that, there is an artificial intelligence image creator built into Canva. I like to call it truly artificial intelligence because this was the prompt that I gave it. And as you can see, it didn't quite understand. And let's go to the grid view just so that we can see what are we talking about here. I wanted this with the Geico guys, but clearly, truly artificial intelligence wasn't going to give that to me. So anyway, we're back here, and I think I mentioned on the first Canva preso, you can spend your life in this thing and keep working on changing and doing, and at some point in time, it does hit the point of good enough. So just something to keep in mind. Two other items that I learned along the way. The thing about Canva and Score Prezos is this is a learning situation. Um, Yuka is a really interesting free app that you can put onto your phone that will allow you to scan any product at the supermarket, and it will recommend, quote unquote, healthier alternatives. So just an item to consider. And this was another item over here on the right that I found to be really interesting because, as we all know, that synonym for reporting is tracking. And another item that you can add into your Canva presentation is this lovely video frame, which you can go into your elements, type video frame, and it will allow you to have that as a running animation. And I think this might be the same one, but just bear in mind the amount of features that are available to you, unbelievably large. Ah, here we are. Pexels. We did our presentation a while back and got an email about Pexels. Why didn't we mention Pexels during the Canva presentation? It's a very important place to be able to get images. And one of my SCORE colleagues did some homework and found out that the reason I overlooked Pexels was because it's just been part of Canva since 2019. So that answers that question. This was, again, another slight exploration through a whole slew of different places. I do a lot of churning through the Instagrams and, as you can see, memes. A lot of shortcuts if you're working your way through Excel. I'm leaving them here just as a bit of a time so that if you want to reference back to it, you can. I wouldn't be surprised if you went into Google and was able to track that down as well. 300 Excel shortcuts, and there's a lot of them. Um, Another item that I recently had to address with somebody was that if you go to Google Maps, you can blur out your home. And there is a Mashable article that will allow you or provide you with the information on how to go about doing that. Okay, we've neared the end of that one. This was another collection of business tips that I thought would be of interest and possible value to you. If you hold the Shift key, you can select all of them. And when you get into position and arrange, you can space them vertically or horizontally. You can center them. The ability to make stuff look very similar to things as you would have known in Photoshop, very much the case. Also, you can group them so that they would now move as a single contiguous item. Control Z will move them back where they were. Control Z again, and they're unlinked. Second set of these, so you can take a look at them. And then we've got the final set over here as well, so that you have that available. And then for those who are curious for other tools that are available to use, going to leave this on for a moment and just provide a quick footnote along the way on this. To learn software requires time. To learn two pieces of software may require twice as much time. To explore three pieces of software, or are you starting to follow along on this? Because the significance of there are other tools you can use. Yes, there are, but I'm a very big advocate of once you learn how to use a piece of software, get good at it so that you're able to do the things that you would like to do within the software. Where else are we here? We've seen this already. We're moving into the final part of it. And Bob, I see that there's a number of questions that I'm very happy to answer, or if people want me to go back through things, just let me know.
Okay, if you're ready for questions, we can do that. Just a reminder to everyone: if you have a question, please use the Q&A button, and we'll try and take as many as we can until the top of the hour. There was one that did come in through text just recently, but maybe I'll start with that one from Heather. What does the running animation term mean?
Not where did they see that actually?
Um, don't know. Maybe Heather, you could elaborate on that, and maybe in the interim
With
we'll go.
animate, I'll start from a different point of view. For those of us who've used PowerPoint for an extremely long time, the ability to build a slide is not necessarily done the same way. In PowerPoint, you would have this uh, slide, you would do your build. To do a build in Canva, what you want to do, we've got 3 of these, is to duplicate the page 3 times, believe it or not, and then delete the pieces so that when you talk about building, it's actually 3 different slides. Animation in Canva is more about how something will show up onto the screen. You can also make it exit the same way. But I do not find the animations of Canva to be as robust as the animations that are within PowerPoint. The versatility of Canva will allow you to create this item and then move it into these multiple other places in a variety of different sizes. And please note, the sizes are different to each one of these. And if you've got a single page, whether you want to go into different social media, or you would like to go into print items, this is where the versatility of Canva becomes. Or to put it a little differently from an analogy I used earlier, yes, your Swiss Army knife may have a screwdriver, but it isn't going to be the best screwdriver you ever used in your life. Anything else, Bob?
Okay, no, I think that covered the animation a question. There's one from Crystal. How do you get the character map to show up?
Character map. If you are on a PC and you are in either Windows 10 or Windows 11, and I hope you're in one or the other, they are the current operating systems. Next to that Windows icon in the bottom left corner is a little magnifying glass, and it will say type here to search. And if you type in character map, it will come up. To do that in a Zoom is a number of different steps. So I'm going to not walk you through that, but I will. Let's see if we can get back to that slide, because that was close to the bottom, close to the top here. Where are we? It's under fonts, I believe. There we are. Okay. So you go into that bottom left corner where it says type here to search, type in character map 2 words, hit enter. You will get this. You'll be able to choose your font, whichever font you would like. Understand that when people build computers, they build them for multiple languages. So there's lots of things to choose from and lots to churn through to get what you want. But once you get there, you would be able to click on the box. I picked the triangle as opposed to the circle over here. Hit select. That will put it into this particular little square over here, the rectangle over here. Hit copy, and you can bring it over to Canva. You'll be able to cut and paste it and put in whatever information. And by the way, part of the reason for these multiple spaces over here is that in order to get the spacing to look right over here, it needed a little bit of extra spacing in the type. And that's the work that designers do day in and day out.
That's great.
What
Okay,
else you got, Bob?
Yep, we have lots of time for questions here. We purposely allow lots of time, and so I'd like to invite people, if you do have a question that you would like Bud to go back to, or you have a question on Canva that perhaps he hasn't even covered today, we would gladly take those, and we do have time. So we'll just maybe pause for a minute there, because I know there's a lot of things covered, and I know there's also things out there that people come across in Canva that maybe we didn't cover today. So,
And by the way, you could
sorry, Bud.
not just going through just showing you there's a lot of different ways to go about moving information around here in Canva. As I said, knowing that this is something that you'll be able to see as a recording.
Just while
There it
you're doing
was.
that, Bud, we've had a request. There's a couple of come in. Tandra would like you to go back over the neon box when you were talking about that.
Oh, sure. Oh, and it happens to conveniently be right here. Okay. So Canva, one of Canva's great features is this ability to do layers. For those of us who've been in Photoshop for a long time, layers are how you make something show up or go behind, and powerful, powerful tool. Let me give you an example besides the neon signs here, where we're going to click on neon sign here and go into the Canva effect. So this neon, I did an outline to. This neon, I did a neon to. In order to get the stroke or outline, as they call it, to show up with the neon, you would need to do two distinct layers and then be able to drag one on top of the other. And they align, and now you can have your stroked text with the neon glow behind it, built by layers. Let's do this a slightly different way so that you can see it. Let's pick a different, thicker font. Okay. We're going to put blueberry behind abyss. And here we go back into position. And now we've got blueberry, which is this layer. And we're going to put it on top of abyss. Important to note, if you're just working fonts to put text onto a screen, it's not as significant an issue as when you want to lay things one on top of another. So here I've got my Clarence laid on top of blueberry. Now I've got my blueberry laid on top of canvas. Now, I can do this by the drag or by Control Z, and it will move it back to where it was. And you can move it to wherever it is that you would like it to go. One other item. Let's see if we can do another quick thing here with effects. We're in neon. We've made a selection. We've done 50%. Now we've got it as a 74% intensity. And now you've got it as a slightly brighter glow. Want to change that. Let's change this to a slightly different color. Can I change the color? No, I'm not seeing a way to change the color on the glow. All right. But now you can have your drop shadow on a lighter background. This would look like you need to get glasses. An important note on doing presentations, by the way, if you are ink on paper, I recommend a very light background. If you are doing presentation online, I have found greater success with darker backgrounds and lighter color text. It stands out far better. And if you're in such need, you can change the direction of this neon glitch, and we'll just move this back to where it was. Slide this back over. What else you got, Bob? I saw the numbers jump
Yeah,
up in the chat window.
yeah. No, we've got lots of questions. Here's a relatively quick one on how many paid options does Canva have?
Don't know. But I can tell you from looking at what are significant, what I have considered to be significant features, this resizing and changing for Instagram or TikTok or LinkedIn or Facebook, huge value. Build it once, make it go anywhere. As you work your way through elements, you can see that there are little crowns showing up in all kinds of places. As a value, I urge you to consider it at $100 a year. Um, if your business can't afford $100 a year for your communications, um, that's a different issue to consider.
Very helpful. Couple of related questions on first one is basic. Can Canva be used to create a website? And then a more detailed one, can you create pages for your website on Canva, and can they be uploaded to WordPress?
Uploaded to WordPress, probably, but probably not as HTML. But let's see, what do we have here? Oh, this is the share. So let's go to design. And there's your answer, pre-built. Um, Rather than take us out of this, I'm going to just suggest to you that, what have we got here as, look at that. They'll even give you your styles so that everything is available to you. Um, I would suggest if you want to go exploring in here and, oh, look at that. We've got another one of those crowns, and there's another one over here with a 20-page website. Um, I would start with a new canvas. One of the other things that I have gotten the habit of doing, by the way, is that when I'm done tinkering in a Canva build, I go back to home because I would really like to have everything saved. I don't want to step on it or have a problem with it. And it's not that I don't trust that Canva is auto saving for me on the way. But as I mentioned earlier, I went into present mode on a presentation earlier today, and it blew up, but good. And I tested before I did my presentation. So technology, it's still got some question marks to go along with it. Anyway, what else you got?
Okay, there are a couple of questions from Rocky. What is the biggest difference between Canva versus Photoshop Lite, or just Photoshop in general?
Okay. Um, think of Canva as Photoshop really, really light. Uh, Give me a moment to find my screen so I can explain it. Uh, where are Here we are. So just to be able to say that I did it, I took this image and brought it into the edit photo so that I could see what the blurring tool would do for me. Um, it's really basic stuff. You can resize, you can do some minor retouching, but if you are familiar with Photoshop and your work in images in Photoshop, you will find um, lighter comparable tools in Canva, but I think you're going to find that the serious work, the heavy lifting, is still a Photoshop product or an Illustrator product. Canva, as I said, it's a Swiss Army knife. It's got a screwdriver. It's got a Phillips head screwdriver. It may have the tweezers, but I'm not sure that the tweezers that you're going to get in your Swiss Army knife are going to be as good as the tweezers that you might want to use to pull out something that got stuck in your finger from a piece of wood splinter.
I think that's a good advice. There's one here from Kyle, and I think it could benefit maybe a number of people who are not all that familiar with Canva. And his question is, what are the main or top uses and benefits of Canva? Um, is the main benefit being able to create presentations for different social media platforms, or are there other main benefits?
Um, Bob, let me know if you can see this and I'll work you through some of what I've been doing. Can everybody see this?
Yes.
Okay. So I have built a one sheet. I have built presentations. I know of people who are building their Facebook ads and their Instagram ads. And from a single file, you can do a layout. Uh, you can make a video. As I mentioned, I had a highly successful blow up this morning. So I'm going to take a presentation and I'm going to move it into presentation mode, which, as I mentioned previously, will allow you to both present and record. And from that present and record, it will not only do the recording like we are doing here for SCORE, which we will put on our SCORE website or YouTube that links to our website, but the recording that you do inside of Canva uploads to Canva. So it's available online. I pay for a service, so it's at no additional cost. I can also download the MP4 that would be created if I wanted to put it somewhere else. But again, remember that if you create this thing in Canva and it's online, you can copy the URL and then you can embed it into whatever it is that you want, whatever Canva item you might want to embed it into. Let's go back to that for just a moment. For instance, this was an embed. You can do it as the link. So the versatility of being able to go to multiple places, I find to be really helpful. Also, one of its other major features, again, depending upon who you are, what you do, or what you feel you don't want to do, is that they've got whatever it is that you're looking for, and it's now joined into artificial intelligence or truly artificial intelligence, depending upon how you feel about it. But you can set things up with a bunch of colors that people who do this for a living have very generously uploaded so that you can take advantage of it. But you can just for a few items here, you can make a pitch deck, you can do slideshows, you can make one sheets. Here we go, very quick to grab. And again, they'll offer you multiple choices. And as you can see, they want to know when things don't work because that's how they keep making the product better. And if my memory's correct, just as a piece of trivia, they come out of Australia. It's an Australian company.
Right.
What
Well,
else?
I think that's very helpful. Um, here's one from Deirdre. Can you give steps to create a survey again? I think you touched on that briefly in the presentation, but maybe you could just.
Oh, surveys. Yes, surveys is a two-step item because this box here, as you can see, is a Google Doc. Okay, so how do you make the survey? You start in Google Docs, and if my memory is correct, we have a webinar by Nalini Gulsaran, who has gone through building forms and surveys as a webinar. But you start in Google Docs. You go to create your form. You'll need to have a Google account. So once you get your Google account set up, you create your form. It will live in Google Docs online. You're then going to need to copy the location of that form so that you can then go into the apps of Canva and go to embed. And from embed, you'll end up with this box over here, which will then allow you to choose between, let's make it really confusing just for fun, and since we're at the back end, that's where it lives. And all that Google Doc, all that the embed feature does is allow you to choose between whether it's a hot link or it's something that you want to look at.
Okay, I think excellent. One more here from Shirtilia. Can you show how to do Facebook or an Instagram ad?
Well, okay, let's see if we blow up. We're close to the end, but here, let's give it a go. All right. So we are going to, let's use this one, which is a past history. Okay. So here is my one page. And from here, we're going to go into let's go to go from here. We'll go to Facebook. Okay. And let's see, what did it do for me? It grew the sides, but it didn't actually give me more of a use of that horizontal space. So in some regards, while it did crush this down to be able to fit, you might want to go back and do some redesigning so that the pieces
But I think the illustration was in about 3 or 4 clicks there, you were able to create the ad.
yes, albeit not a very good one, but yes, in just a matter of clicks. So bottom line, if you're starting with a vertical and you want to go to a horizontal, even Canva isn't that smart. So knowing where you want to start or move around, and per se, most monitors are horizontal monitors. Every now and then I run into an accountant who's got a vertical monitor to look at whatever form, but overall, if you're in the digital world, stuff is going to be horizontal more so than vertical. And if you build it horizontally, it may be able to tweak and twist it to fit a little better. And then from here, obviously, go back to home. Did it add anything for me? No, it hasn't added it yet. Okay, let's go back to our Canva presentation. Okay, but yes, matter a few clicks, you can move it from one place to the next with the proper sizing, which is the important thing to note, is this idea of everybody's got their own rules to the game. Let's try where were we? We were on Oh, that's the Facebook. Here we go. So let's try just for fun. Continue. And it crushed it down a little bit so that it would fit into a Facebook. But the sizing of this document would now be acceptable for a Facebook upload.
Right.
All right, starting to get a lot of tabs here. Okay, anything else, Bob? We close
No,
to,
I think we've kind of exhausted lots of comments in the chat here, but I think we've covered most of those as well. So I think just as a reminder, we've had a lot of people asking about recordings and copies of slides. So just to reiterate, the webinar has been recorded and the recording will be available on within the next day or so, hopefully by the end of today, on our website, fairfieldcounty.score.org. And you just go on there, you can click on workshops and webinars. And then once you get to there, you can click on demand, and you can just scroll through or search to find not only this webinar, but we've had some other people asking about earlier webinars on Canva. That one is there as well from last November the 7th. So if you want to listen to that one, which was kind of the starting point or the introduction to Canva, that you may find that helpful as well. Our next live webinar, just to reiterate, is 2 weeks from today, and the topic is SEO 101, learn how to rank higher. And Jennifer DeRosa will be presenting that, and again, more specifics on our website. And again, if you'd like to take advantage of the free individual counseling, you can use the link that you see on the screen, or just go to our website and click on Request a Mentor. And if I could ask you to fill out your evaluations that are being sent at the end of the webinar, they're very helpful to us going forward. And on behalf of SCORE, I'd like to thank everyone for attending today's live webinar, and a special big thank you to Bud Freund for presenting today.
thanks for
Great job
listening,
as always,
folks.
Bud. And thanks again, everyone, and enjoy the rest of your day.